Hello everyone, it's Alison here from Ladner Village Arts and Crafts. We're ready for day 5 of the 12 Days of Stitchmas. I sure am, so let's get started. Let's open her up, find day 5. Apparently when it's written in letters, I can't see it. I'm staring at this box going, where's day 5? Oh, it's the snowflake. See, I have seen all the, well, not all, but I've seen a lot of the sort of sneak videos already. So I knew this one was coming. I couldn't remember what day it was. So very excited. Okay. So I'm going to gather my supplies and then we will do some die cutting and stitching. You guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to take this in a unique color direction. I'm going to start with this as my background. All my cards so far, I've had one piece of pattern paper from that same 6x6 paper pad in the background, and I chose this one. Kind of looks to me like a snow flurry, so that seems appropriate. But my snowflake is going to be, are you ready for it? Pink. 2 shades of pink. Am I crazy? Possibly. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then I brought in my white to have in the background because on one of the stamp sets, there are little snowflake images. So I thought I could bring in a couple of distress inks and do some background stamping behind the snowflake. So yeah, you ready for it? Now this die has quite a bit of stitching and it's unique in how it cuts out. So let's do that first. And let's see, I'm going to do it. I'm going to cut the pieces to be stitched in this lighter pink and put it on top of the darker pink. Okay, so let's do that die cutting and then all the stitching. And then we'll have some fun with some ink. I don't think I need any washi tape to hold this in place. Yeah, maybe famous last words. It's big enough that it should stay put as I run it through my die cutter. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. Hopefully the camera's in the right position. Take that away. This cuts out all the individual little pieces. Plus there's a bonus, almost like a what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know what the word is, but a place, you know, to show you where everything goes. What is that? Template? Template. There we go. So all these are little individual pieces that I will be stitching. So I'll put that aside carefully, and then I'm going to cut the outline again in this darker pink. Okay, so that is all the die cutting I need to do. I'm gonna get my background ready. So 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. That's what we've been doing. I'm gonna leave this for now I'm going to have it handy because what I might want is an extra piece of cardstock behind. But because this is white, I can probably do my snowflake stamping on the back of this. So I'm just going to get my adhesive on. And this is just so everything is just ready. And before I start stitching, let's get my, I'm just going with Happy Holidays. Let's see if I can actually apply that straight on my block so I don't stamp it crooked. Okay, let's get that stamped. I want to get as much sort of ready to go because I know this stitching is going to take a bit of time. So let's get this stamped on there. And while I'm in the stamping mood, let's get some of these stamped. So this is a cluster of snowflakes. And I'm going to stamp some off the mat and some directly on the mat. And I want to sort of move my stamp around so they're not all stamped in the same direction. I really want this to look like snow flurries. Okay, I'm going to start there. Ooh. I'm going to come in with the lighter pink. Oopsies. Guess they weren't adhered very well. And I want to overlap. And again, I'm going to take some off the page. Even put some over my title. This is very subtle, but so pretty. So if I bring this back in, I'm not going to lay it down because that oxiding stays wet for a little bit. That's pretty good. I think what I might do though is switch it up. So I'm just going to sort of stamp these off and go into the darker color. Okay, and then do the same with the cluster, but in the lighter color. So I'm just layering this up. I really want this to give some lovely texture and interest, but because especially this light pink is so subtle, it's not going to detract from the rest of the card. You know what? I think I'm going to stop there. Okay, so that can be put aside to dry. I'm going to wipe my mat before I get pink ink on everything. This is a mat that I picked up from scrapbook.com, mostly because I wanted something white. I am working on my old drafting table, which is quite mucky. It has seen lots of ink on it, and then pencil and pen and all sorts of things. So it was a bit distracting when I was filming. Okay, time to stitch. I'm just going to avoid that sort of damp bit. And the thread I'm going to be using is this sort of peachy pink. So let's pull out a good long section. I'm gonna split it in half, get it on a needle, and then come back. So I've put my snowflake on my desk with each piece sort of still in its correct spot. I've got my thread ready to go. Looking at the holes, and there's not really, when I die cut it, the sort of score lines didn't show up, but basically your stitch pattern needs to be sort of long stitches here and here. So I am going to start from the bottom. I've got pieces of washi tape ready to go. And then trying not to tie knots in my thread. So I came up from the bottom. I'm going to go down through that center one. Oops. Oh, managed to catch it on the other end. So hang on one second. Then I'm going to come up through the bottom again. Or yeah, taped over the hole. And I'm going to go into that end bit. Come up through the bottom again. And go up through this side, not this time. Now I'm going to go into the middle hole. I want to take my spikes up the side and the top, but first I'll go to the one side, up through that middle hole, up through the top, oops, try not to bend it, back through that middle hole, and lastly down that other spike. So that's the pattern you should have. And then I'm going to do my little trick of sort of tucking my thread behind all the other threads. Get another piece of washi and snip it off. So this snowflake is going to be a little finicky because you have to do each individual like spoke of the snowflake. I'm just trimming my washi so you don't see it from the front. And then when I'm done, I can put it back in the snowflake and move on. The big snowflake is done very similarly, and I think to keep it simple, here, let's pull out that big bit and do this one next. So I'm going to come up through the middle, or am I? We've got some, yes, okay, that's what we're doing. Okay, let's start in the middle. I'm going to come up through the middle, get my washi tape in place, and then from the middle, I'm going to go to the top of each, what are those called? Point. Huh. Words are hard, really. Words are really hard, people. Top of each point, all the way around. This might not be the way Spellbinders intended it, but that's the way we're doing it today. All the way around. Always up through the middle. Oopsies. Oh, goodness. And then once we get this done, preferably without tying a knot in it. Where are we going here? Then we'll do the smaller spokes. Yeah, got a knot. Just go slowly, don't rush like I am doing. Really want that knot to show. Well, maybe I can hide it with like a gem or something. Okay, so now I've got my long points done. I'm going, actually I didn't want to come up through the middle there. I'm going to go in through, there's a sort of inner ring of holes. I'm going to come through there and go to these shorter points, like the inside point. And then I'm going to come over to the next one. And do that all the way around. Now there are a whole bunch of other little perforations on this, which you could do a running stitch if you really wanted to, if you have the time and the patience. I do not. But I think this is going to look really pretty. Especially once all the other bits are sewn up. I've taped over that back, so I gotta poke out the hole from the back. Trying to guesstimate where it is. There we go. Do our little sew through the threads to secure it trick. Add a little bit of washi, extra security, and trim. Okay, so that is two. That's the inside and one of the little spokey bits. So I got a lot more spokey bits to do. We'll do those and then we'll come back and assemble the card. All my stitching is done and I've just reassembled it back into that sort of template so that you can see what it's going to look like once it's on my card. I will be using that little template to make sure I get everything perfectly lined up on the sort of background piece. But before I do that, I decided, I was thinking about it, and I want to ink these edges. And I could do it in pink, but I think I'm going to do it in the dark. Now I have a very dry ink pad here, and somewhere I have a very, very old it is. Foam applicator. This is the one that I use to do my edges because it's dry. I will get little foamy bits all over my mat because, like I said, this is a really old applicator and it's sort of falling apart. So you might not be able to see that on camera, but if I hold it up against the paper, you can sort of see an edge. It's not quite defined enough, so I'm going to go in a little bit with a little bit more ink. I don't want it to scream, you know, you've edged this in black, but I just want a little bit of definition between the edge of my white cardstock and the edge of my white card base. Now I'm going to take a minute to clean this. All right, now it is time to assemble. So I'm going to put my card front down onto my card base first, just get that out of the way, and then I will actually adhere the bottom layer. I'm just going to put this over top of my snowflake so that you can see, make sure I'm on in the frame for you guys. So I hope the camera can pick that up. It's just a subtle darkness around the edges. It just helps it give definition, I guess, between the background and the cardstock or the card base. Okay, so we want to have my snowflake about there. And I think this one's going to have multiple popped up layers because I think I'm going to pop all of these up and then I'm going to pop this up. So I need my foam tape. For this one, I'm going to use my big tape. And then for this one, I'll use the little foam squares that came in my kit. If I haven't mentioned before, I love these scissors from Spellbinders. I will definitely be looking to bring these into the shop, so watch for them. Okay. Good enough. So let's think how I want this one arranged. Yes, sort of straight up and down, I think. Now I'm just going to try and move this off to one side. I'll probably, oh no, it moved pretty well. I am going to have to pull this all apart because I want to have this sort of little frame template in place. And I'm going to pop the biggest star in first. Let's get my pop dots out. If I can place the big center star then in the middle first, then the other pieces should just slot right in. And I will try and describe what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but this might just be kind of you gotta figure it out for yourself. Try it out for yourself. If you have one of these calendars, if you've done this particular die cut, do let me know how you managed to do it. I'm always curious how other people use the dies, manipulate the dies, figure out the dies. Okay, so I want this lined up. And then I can place this in the middle. Oops, try not to actually glue on top of it. So I think I can remove that and then just put these guys in. And they might only require one pop dot each. We will see. I might try and find some teeny tiny ones for that top little round bit there. Just because I like everything to be sort of secure, not floppy. So the question is, do I have any teeny tiny foam squares? I'm just gonna take a look, take a minute to look. I don't see any. I know we sell them at the store, but I apparently don't have any in my stash at home. So we're just gonna have to muddle through without them. Oh, hang on. So I used a bit of Scotch tape when I was putting this together, and I didn't have a super sharp pair of scissors so I could trim that Scotch tape away. So some of them, it's still showing. So let's fix that. I think I've got them all now. So let's get these all in place, and then I think it will be jewel time. Whoops, missed a tiny bit at the bottom this time. Okay. I was at the store late, so I was just working on these and got lazy. Last one. Now let's add some of our gems, because I think that would be really pretty on this one. Not the pearls that we were using on the other cards, but these guys, because it sort of picks up all that pink. And I'm going to add some to my snowflake. Oops, let's try and center that. Yeah. This is where tweezers would be really handy. I do own tweezers. I'm not the best with them. I really need to practice more. Do I look super awkward using them? Yes. Do I feel super awkward using them? Yes. Stay. That one went flying. Oh, goodness me. That one also went flying, but I can see it. I can see comment section is going to be all about proper tweezer etiquette or something. Okay. that was painful. Okay, let's put some bigger ones elsewhere. Yeah. We're just going to use our fingers because I like my fingers. comfortable using my fingers. Oh, I think I left the glue dot behind on that one. Okay, there is another one done. That is day number 5, I believe. I've lost track. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you again for day number 6. Bye.